Hello, fellow YouTubers. Welcome back to YouTube Gaming Community number 114. Man, work tried to kill me this week. They worked me a butt off this week with hours, and I came home and I was like, I was starting to work on the video, and I continued like every night. I'd fall asleep, and I'd wake up and go, well, there's another day without the video. And what made it suck was I'd keep posting, the video's coming, it's coming tonight, and then of course there's no video, and people are like, why are you even saying anything? Dude, why don't you have the video up? And of course, so on this lovely Friday, hope everybody in the community's having a lovely Friday. I took my wife out for breakfast this morning because it is her birthday, and after that I wouldn't see her and my son until tonight, because after my son got off school, he's going over to the place where my wife's helping a lady with their garage sale, and there'll be a bunch of kids there, and a bunch of women are showing up later after it's over later this afternoon, and they're going to throw a party for my wife. So I have the whole house to myself. And you think, I could work on videos and I could clean, which I haven't done about that much cleaning. We'll see how much that actually gets done. But instead, I've been playing Yakuza 4 most of the day. Man, I love that game. And then I recently just got on Black Ops real quickly and went 21 and 19 in Ground War Domination. I like to play 12, 18 players. I don't like to play 6 to 12. And so that was a lot of fun. So because I'm trying to prestige Black Ops one time, because I get Gears of War 3 next Tuesday. When I get that, that's all I'm going to be playing, because I originally got an Xbox for Gears of War 1 360, and so I want to complete the storyline and actually get on multiplayer this time. So anyway, that's not what I'll be doing. So let's get to the topic of today, and that is blocking people on YouTube. Now, ever since the blocking button's been on YouTube, it's kind of been controversial. Some people hate it, some people like it. See, there's a misconstrued in the community about a channel page. People look at a channel page and think everybody has a right to go there and leave a comment and subscribe. And the truth is, that channel is your channel. You ultimately get to decide who leaves a comment. You ultimately get to decide who subs to your channel. You can unsub anybody at any time if you want to. You can block people. If anybody leaves a comment you simply don't like, or people you don't want to associate with, you can simply block that person. Now, there are consequences to doing this, because if you block somebody, then they tell their other close friends on YouTube, and then they tell other friends on YouTube, and then that group of people will probably never watch your video, will probably never sub to you, probably not do anything to you, because that's one of the consequences. It's easy to misconstrue someone's comment or misunderstand a comment. They could be kidding and you think they're not. That's why a lot of times when I look at a person's comment, I think they could be kidding, but they're not. I'm not sure, so I usually jokingly joke back. And if they joke back, then okay, cool, the person was kidding. If they leave another dick comment, then simply okay, block them. Or sometimes you can simply go to their channel and see if they let other troll comments, or how people respond. You can clearly tell, oh, that person's just trolling people, so block that person. And you can unsub people. I had a friend on YouTube who actually didn't like that a lot of wrestling fans were subbing to his channel, so he went through his subscriber list and he unsubbed every person who was a wrestling fan. Now, I would never do that, because I believe we all have multiple hobbies. I mean, just because I mainly talk about gaming, I also love comic books, Godzilla, Transformers, anime, action figure toys, 80s cartoons. Just because someone's channel is mainly on one hobby doesn't mean they don't have dozens of hobbies like most of us do. And so that person had a right to do that, though. And so the question I posed to you today is this: when do you think it's right to block somebody? When do you think it's not right to block somebody? How do you feel about YouTube allowing people to block people in general? I think the block button is good. I think you have to have it, because there are bad people out there that you simply need to block. And of course, they're the one, and the people you block have the right to make a video telling their side of the story. Now that I got that topic out of the way, real quick, a lot of people wanted me to comment about the whole drama thing going on in the community right now. And let me be honest. Let me say this first off, because I got this question from people. I support Happy Council Gamer 100%. When I was a 40 sub, no channel, the only thing once in a while I did a pickup video once in a great while, that was it. I sent him a message. It was like right when my father died. I sent him a message, we talked. I sent a message. He sent a message back. He told me his story about his father passing away, and he didn't have to. We counted back and forth a little bit. When I first started doing the community videos, he put me on his checkout channel list. He didn't send me a message he doing it. He didn't make a big deal, but I didn't say, oh, you need to talk about how great it was. He simply put me on there and support the channel. You know, that was cool. I've enjoyed his videos for years. And I think, listen, I don't have a problem with, everybody has a right to leave a comment on someone's video channel and say, hey, I don't like what you do, and give their honest opinion about it. Constructive opinion, not, you know, just leaving a troll message. Everybody has a right to make a video response on any video you do. That's one of the things that you pay for when you become somewhat of a mini celebrity on YouTube, any kind, whether you have one sub or people have a right to make a response to any video you make. It's part of making videos on here. It goes with kind of, in a sense, the game of being on here. People have a right to dislike your video, every single video, just like people have the right to like your video. But when people think they have the right to decide who has a channel on YouTube and who doesn't, that's where I have a problem. Now, people would love for me to go after certain people or say these people are, but the truth is I don't need to. Because when something big or a drama happens in the community, what happens is these people who claim to be good people, who claim to have the, you know, you should listen to them, who claim to, you know, go after other people, make troll channels and all sorts of stuff, that the community finds out who these people really are, and they notice who they are, and the community notices who they are, and they either quit paying attention to them, or they start flagging the person when they attack people with their videos and other stuff, and the community takes care of these people. And it becomes glaringly obvious who these people are when something big happens in our community. That's why I don't need to mention the person's name. I've known this person to be like this for a while. He's done things before. He doesn't deserve the right for me to say his name or give him that kind of publicity. The community will eventually take care of those people, and those people will eventually be gone. They always do over time. So, let's get to comments from YouTube gaming community number 113 about our YouTubers role models. And the first comment is from Retro Games Don't Stop. I think I read this guy's comments all the time. He leaves good comments though. Be yourself, all is well. YouTube is an illusion. It does not have anything to do with reality. Sometimes it feels like. I think he meant to put it, but feels like it. And that is true. YouTube is in a sense an illusion, because it's an illusion of who some of these people are. Because, I mean, especially people who play characters, it's an illusion that they're that character, and really, you know they're not. One of the funniest things on YouTube is when people watch your videos over time, they remember everything. It's sometimes scary to me to talk and message people on Skype or on Xbox or wherever it is, and they know everything I've done in a video. And when I talk, and what happens is when they know that and they talk to you outside of your videos, they challenge to see if you are who you seem to be in your videos. They challenge to see if you say the same thing or have the same feeling or the same passion that you do in your videos. And when they find out that they do, some ways they're relieved. They're like, oh, he's the guy I thought he was. And sometimes you can't live up to it, because sometimes they built you up to a point that no matter what you say or what you do, you'll never live up to what they think you are. And that's the downside of making videos, is that people put morals and ideals of you that aren't true. And there's no way for you to dismiss those ideals, because they've in a sense kind of become a fanboy and they think you are something that you're just not. And when you don't live up to that, they're let down. And that's how a lot of people get built up in the community, and then they get torn down. Because a lot of people start thinking it's this thing that they're not, and then eventually they get upset because they aren't what they thought they were, and they try to tear them down. Anyway, a little off track there. Oto-U272 said, I've been considered a role model by a few people, and believe me, I am so uncomfortable with it. I'd rather not be considered anything other than a normal person who's sharing a passion on YouTube. And I think most people feel that way. I think most people would be just considered a normal person who makes videos on their spare time for the hobby that they love. And next up is Retro Roadshow said, I think it depends on your attitude and goals. Being a teacher, one side effect of my channel is that a lot of my students watch my show. Bearing that in mind, especially since I see them on a weekly basis, I try to stick to concepts that are wholesome, humorless, and generally PG rated. I find the fact that some look up to me encouraging, but not an end goal. For me, it feels good to spread some good vibes and a rad time. If people feel well, that well, awesome. And this is, I think, also what a lot of people deal with. When you deal with people that, like, you don't know you from being a child or don't see on a regular day in your life or sometime in your life, it's easier to make the video knowing that. When you actually have someone, like when I found out my nephew's watching my video, and my mother, you know, my wife showed it to her one time when she was here because she wanted to see, I had mentioned I did the videos. It's a totally different aspect when you, it's scary when you find out someone who knows you sees you watch your videos. Because it is a totally different ball game when someone you know watches your videos. It's a lot, in some ways it puts a lot more pressure on you. Because you might feel that person won't understand what you do, or that you let them down somehow, or that they may not think you are who they thought you were. And so I think that's why sometimes it makes things difficult. And I hope Retro Roadshow gets the problems he's having and be able to make videos again soon, because I saw him leave comments somewhere about that. Next up, Point Blank Games said, I simply put, a YouTuber should never be considered a role model. Like you stated in your video, people are only getting a 15-minute glimpse of that person talking to a camera. I understand there are also a bunch of kids in the gaming community that say they look up to Pete Dorr and others, but it's just what they see and hear in those 15 minutes that fuel their admiration. We are all just average people sitting in front of a camera talking about video games. Nothing more, nothing less. And I do understand that what you see in that 15-minute video can lead to admiration and respect for that person. For what that person may not do. They may not cuss, or they may not, you may not think they're an idiot, or they may like the things you like. And that's why, or that's why you admire that person, or the way they're creative, or the way they make their videos. I understand that admiration for what they do or they don't do. It's just sometimes you start twisting that into something else when you become a fanboy that's hard for those people to live up to. Next up, 8-Bit Rob said, is Rob a good role model? I ponder this every second of the day, LOL. And you know, you really can't. I mean, I don't ponder it. I just make these videos, talk about what I like to talk about, read the comments I think are interesting, and then people seem to like them. Great. I mean, whether you want to be a role model or not, people are going to make that decision whether you want them to or not. You can tell a person in every video, I'm not a role model. Some people still consider you that way. And next up is Level PP38 said, Pepe, sorry, I don't know why I said Pepe. I think there are more like celebrities than role models. And I think that's true. I think we more are like celebrities, but the problem is celebrity and role model are a lot of times tied together. It goes with athletes, it goes with actors and actresses. They become a celebrity, for some reason they become a role model. Unknowingly or unwilling want to, but they become a role model. It just, that's what happens with fame. However little fame you have. And next up, Mr. TechnoSqueak wanted to say, the reason All Gen Gamers podcast wasn't up last week was because Jason's audio equipment was screwed up. And ironically, I did actually, this week I actually went back and listened to, what was it, 55, 56, 57, and then when 58 came out because I was behind. And I listened to 58, where Jason said that, you know, he had audio problems and they lost the last podcast where he recorded just him and nobody else. So that's why it wasn't up, and now their newest one's up. For everybody who's wondering, if I had followed them on All Gen Gamers on Facebook, I would know that. But anyway, so let's get to videos to check out. The first one is by InterGhost, new collaboration video, want to be a part of it. In this video, he's just asking, do you want to be a part of his collaboration video? A lot of you may remember the Perfect Day singing video he did with a lot of people in the game community, where basically each person in the game community sang a small line in the video, and they sent him that clip, and then he cut it all up and put it together. It was a lot of work to do that video. I know it was a lot of work for him to do it, trying to get everybody to send it in, and the time for them to send it in. So if you want to be a part of it, send him a message, leave a comment to that video, and hopefully you'll get picked for the video. Next up, TheMegaManCave Mega Interviews JillpooThree Part 1 and 2. First one starts off with JillpooThree actually kind of in a sense interviewing MegaManCave, and then they end up, you know, interviewing JillpooThree about his channel, about a lot of the great games they like, and if you like a lot of old retro game talk and that stuff, check it out, or want to know more about JillpooThree or MegaManCave, check it out. Rather interesting video. Next up is RetroHunters episode 13-2. Cute take on Final Fantasy 13. Anyway, great. Just they go to this garage, you know, this huge like flea market. You know, they're having a lot of fun, getting each other a bunch of funny things like a pink girl bike and stuff like that. But eventually they do find some cool game stuff, some cool game systems. So if you want to check out, they had some really cool finds, check out the video. Next up is MetalJesusRocks PAX Weekend Video Game Pickups, lots of games. So a lot of people went, YouTube gamers went to PAX this year for the YouTube Game Community Meetup. And he starts the video talking about that. And then he shows all the great, awesome pickups he had at PAX. And he picked up a lot of great old school shmups or shooters. Like Axlay on the Super Nintendo was a game I forgot all about that even existed. Rather interesting looking shooter. But being someone who's a shooter fan, there's a lot of games that he got that I really need to get for my collection. And then he talked about, after PAX and, how nice everybody was. And then a lot of you may not know, he took Pete Dorr. Pete Dorr got stuck there extra days, and he took Pete Dorr to all these game shops. And so, if you want to check out all of his games, check out his video. Next up is ADDatWorkProductions, Indie Games, Searchlight, Rubber Duckies in 3D. He just picks 8 free-to-play indie games that you check out and play for yourself, links for each of them. A lot of cool, interesting little games there. Check that out. And then Zenith 64, Temple of the Light sneak peek. It's a sneak peek of the URA project, Temple of Light. For those who don't know, on the Nintendo 64 DD, which obviously pretty much only came out in Japan, which of course attached to the bottom of the Nintendo 64 expansion, there wasn't a Legend of Zelda expansion that came out for that. And basically what I'm trying to do is recreate and make that expansion. And so if you want to see the update of where it is right now and what it looks like, check out the video. Next up is newLegacyinc, basically story time, a Shameful thing, part 1. It's always interesting when people take a game in like a story editor and make an interesting. What they basically did was make a storyline for WWE with Sheamus and the Sheamus. Oh, the Sheamus, it's funny. Just Sheamus with antlers. It's hilarious. But it's not just that. It's the fact that these guys are having a lot of fun when they're making the video. They're joking around, cracking jokes, just having a lot of fun in it. That makes the video so fun. So if you're interested, if you like wrestling and like people make story and have a lot of fun, check out that video. Next up is Lewis 2011 College Update in August Pickups 2011. So he updates, he hasn't made a lot of videos because he's in college, and then he shows you his pickups from last generation and this current generation. A lot of cool games that he talks about, so you're interested, check that out. And next up is Shintail 23 Top RPG Boss Themes. So basically, the coolest thing about this is not only the themes he picks from a Final Fantasy game, Artelico, Den of Sumner, as some of the games he picks, but that he describes why he loves that music, each of the music songs he picked. So if you're interested, check that video out. Next up is Forestlock's gameplay, Disgaea 4, A Promise Unforgiven, the PS3. I have number 3, which I actually haven't really dug into that game, and I need to because I really need to dig into it. But 4 looks awesome. If you want to see it, the intro and some of the gameplay, check that out. And this game, the funniest thing about the Disgaea series you don't know is they make fun of themselves. They don't take themselves serious. That's what's so great about the series. And last but not least, EquilibriumGaming 1000 Milestone, Ask Me Anything, first segment, introduction, and reflection. So what he does is, first of all, congratulations to him to reaching 1,000 subs. But what he does is he goes over old questions asked to him in other Milestone videos of his. He shows the latest version of his game room, and basically he wants you to ask him anything, and he will answer it in a later video. I know part 2 of this is coming out later today, and in this one or that one, you can ask him anything you want him to answer. So go to the video, leave him a comment, or send him a message, and hopefully he pictures to answer it. So that's all for now, guys. So tomorrow we're doing YouTube Gaming Community number 115. It's pretty much all together, except for the comments for the topic today. And Sunday, I've already got My Computer Life pretty much together, so that will be coming out on Sunday. So that's all for now, guys. So hope you have a good weekend, and I will see you all tomorrow.